Hi, guys, and welcome to our first podcast. My name is Hamza, and I'm joined today by some of our finest tutors who will share with you what it's like to study medicine at university. So, for the introductions, if you can tell me your name and what university you're at.
Hi, my name is Zaid. I'm a third year medical student at King's.
Hello, my name is Andrew. I am a second year medical student at Brunel University.
Hello, my name is Amina. I'm a second year graduate entry student at the University of Southampton.
Hi, my name is Hania and I'm a first year at Brunel studying biochemistry.
Hi, my name is Sakina and I'm a second year medical student studying at Queen Mary.
Hi, my name is Zima and I'm a first year medical student at University.
Okay. I've realized, me personally, if I know I'm being recorded, I get weirded out. So I'm not natural. I mean, if I was a natural in front of cameras, I would be in Bollywood. But that's not the case. So instead, I want us to actually have a conversation among ourselves. And later on, if the cameras pick something up that's useful, rather than even having like an hour's worth of podcast, we will just give sort of snippets to the people to see what they're about. So if we just start off by imagining what it's like to be at A levels, preparing for university, and some of the hurdles that the kids are going through. Or even better, I think the very first question would be if you can share the exact moment in your schooling that you realized, listen, I should go for medicine, and actually motivated yourself to study sort of medicine. At what stage did that happen? Was it at the point when you received your mock exams? Was it when you were in primary school? Was it after A levels, GCSEs? At what stage did you make the decision that actually, listen, it's something which I can aspire to do, and I'm actually gonna go for it? Rather than, we have kids who are in year 4 and year 5, and we say, okay, what do you want to be when you're older? And they say, oh, doctor, medicine. You can see that's something which they've been programmed to do. But obviously, as a med student, there would have come a time in which you realize that I can actually go for this, and you started believing in yourself. So at what stage did that happen to you guys?
I think for me, it was always just there because I didn't want to become a doctor. I wanted to become a psychiatrist. And I didn't really care about how to get there. All I knew was I wanted to help people. So when I was actually in year 10 and I searched up how do I even get into this field, that's when I realized that I had to do medicine. But it wasn't medicine wasn't the end goal. It was to become a psychiatrist. But then obviously that changed over my journey of A levels and everything.
This answer of I want to help people. A lot of students, they actually say this, I want to help people. And my typical response to them is, why don't you volunteer at a hospital? Like, there's many ways you can help people. What is it about this idea of studying medicine and helping that resonates with you?
I think it's a bit similar to why I wanted to tutor so bad, in the sense that obviously, having a job and stuff, but I do want to actually tutor children as well, to kind of see that kind of progress and actually see that I'm making a difference to, I guess, academics in this case. Kind of similar concept to why maybe I went to study medicine. It's just that sense that you're actually impacting that person's life. It could be from the medication, or even just, I know with GPs, people kind of just come in and just having a talk with the GP is kind of making them feel better already.
Obviously, then people will ask, why not nursing or a pharmacist? Yeah. I think it's because in my experience in A&E, they're kind of in the lead, they're the leader telling people what to do, give out the medication that they need. And of course they are allowed to do that because they've put in a lot of years of work in uni. So I think being in the lead and being able to lead others into helping that people, people that are in need, are the most, I think that's what I like about it.
So perhaps the fact that people will turn to you for making decisions and for sort of actually being able to help them. But you see, that's something which you can probably truly appreciate once you're in that zone. Mm-hmm. But as students, so this is now, I'm sort of talking pre-university. At what stage, again, I think it's a good sort of icebreaker. At what stage did you guys, again, sort of knuckle down and say, listen, I'm going to go for it? And at what stage does that happen? Because if you were to take the average student, they say the earlier the better. So would you say, okay, go for medicine when you're in year one? Is that realistic? Or start applying for medicine, or like set yourself the target of studying medicine when you're in year 5 or post the 11 plus or post GCSEs? At what stage, for example, Zaid, did you realize that you wanted to study medicine?
For me, it was after year 11.
After year 11?
Yeah. So that's pretty
So
late.
the very first thought for me is that that's really late.
Before year 11, I wasn't even thinking medicine. I was
Right.
thinking English and history.
Okay.
But in GCSE, when you do things like when you do biology papers, you see things like kidneys, heart coming up, and sometimes they give you those application questions. That's what I find interesting about medicine is it's all about that application. You're using all your knowledge and it's diagnosis and problem solving.
And would you say it was during your GCSEs or was it after you got your results? Because I know you got amazing grades. So was it before or after results day?
It was after results.
After results day. So again, getting good grades is probably when you started believing in yourself and you had something concrete.
Yeah.
Can I just say, for me, it was after year 12, because it was always in the back of my head. But when I was 100% sure that I wanted to do medicine, it was after I got rejected, after I didn't do as well as I wanted in the UCAT. Because I think at that point in your journey, you're tested. Like, do you really want to do it? Because I knew that if I wanted to get into it, I'd have to go through a different route. Because I already got rejected. Either it'd be a gap year or it'd be doing another course. So
and that's a really good point you've raised, Tanya. Actually, if we just also share your journey into medicine, because again, all of you have had your own unique journey, your own stories, and I think just for the sort of the people listening, for them to actually see the spectrum of students that we have here, perhaps talk through what your route was.
I made up my mind to do medicine when I was in year 8 because that's when COVID was around.
Okay.
So I was really inspired by the work that they put in. And then I was searching into it because I had to choose my year. In year 9, I had to pick my GCSE options. I can try applying for medicine and then we'll see.
Do you mind sharing your mock results?
It was A-star, AA, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in which subjects?
The A-star was in biology and then AA in maths and chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I spoke to my teachers as well and they did support me with the idea that I should apply to medicine.
Okay.
And then I went through with that. I got an average UCAT score.
What's an average UCAT score? I mean, I don't know what UCAT is.
So the highest you can get is 3,600 and then
Okay.
I got around 2,700 or something.
Okay.
And then
they've changed that now though.
Yeah, they've changed
So
it.
average for me was 2,500. 2,700 for me is a great score.
Yeah,
I did so I said yeah.
But I think now they've changed it because they've got rid of abstract reasoning.
Yeah.
So the highest you can get is 2,700. So an average now is like 2,100.
Yeah.
So when I did it, it was like 3,600, the oldest score.
Yeah.
And then I had to search for the university that would accept that UCAT score, which was quite a challenge.
Okay.
But then I applied according to that strategically. It's not about getting into the Russell Group unis, it's about applying so that you at least get a place for medicine.
So you played to your strengths?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then I got my offers and I chose the uni that I liked.
Got it. So in a nutshell, your entry into medicine was quite smooth. It's quite traditional. So
yeah.
you got your GCSE results, then you did A levels, you did well in them, and then you started first year university. I think the follow up from that is, I mean, does anybody else want to share their sort of route into medicine before we go on to the next question?
I don't mind.
Something different, yeah.
So mine was not traditional at all. I hated medicine. I hated the thought of working long hours. I hated everything about the NHS. So I was COVID year when I did my A-levels, and when I sort of went through that and COVID in general, I was like, absolutely not. So then I actually did another degree. So I did pharmacology, and I didn't actually realize that medicine was going to be something for me until I turned around 20. And that is quite late. But when I've gotten into medicine now, I've kind of realized that is quite normal. And actually UK students are quite young in comparison to international students. But so I did placement in pharmacology.
I'm gonna just elaborate on that. What do you mean by UK students are younger than internationals?
So in America and other countries, they usually do have to do an undergrad before you study medicine. And a lot of their students are older in the sense that they will also pursue masters and PhDs before they kind of get onto medicine. So in comparison to the UK, obviously, because they start at 18, they start a lot later. And also in med school, you kind of realize that even people that are undergrads, most of them are a little bit older because they might have taken 1 gap year, 2 gap years, might have done a degree. I know someone who's done a master's, a PhD, and an undergrad in engineering, and now he's doing medicine. So there's lots of non-traditional ways to do it. So I kind of decided when I was around 20, and that's what really solidified my decision. And then I applied after I graduated.
I was in the UK since year 8, and I wanted to do medicine in year 10, obviously with GCSE. And then
So at what point in your 10s, when you started, when you got your mocks?
Pretty
Because I
much.
do feel like, a lot of it comes down to getting the confidence boost from mock results. So from,
I think it was the idea of maybe medicine because I did like science-based stuff. And then I think when I got my GCSE results, then I was like, I have a chance.
Okay.
So let me knock A-levels off
Yep.
and see what I did there. I also did well on my mocks in A-level.
okay, do you mind sharing what your
Great stars.
Okay.
For biochem math. And then I was very confident, and I did the UCAT. I also got a good score there. Obviously, it's 3,600, the highest.
What was your score?
2,910.
Okay.
And then with those, I think I was too overly confident, especially as an international student where there's a lot less spaces compared to UK. So I think when I was looking at Manchester, it was like 200 something for UK, and there was like 50
So is this like numbers that they publish?
they published. So they show you how much UK students, how many spaces for UK students, and how many spaces there are for international. And there's a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, just because we obviously had this conversation off camera, but early on we're talking about how universities can charge upwards of 45 grand for international students as compared to £9,000 for home students. And obviously logic then from the business point of view states that all the universities should just get international students, making it very difficult for home students to actually even stand a chance. But this is where you guys came in and said that's not the case.
Yeah. So I think with my GCSE A levels and me having good UCAS scores, I think I applied above where I should have applied to. I put higher expectations than I usually should. Especially I didn't really put into consideration me being an international student.
But when you say you came in year 8, how then did you still qualify?
So year 8, I was at a boarding school.
Okay.
So it doesn't I wasn't a UK citizen.
Right.
So I'm an international student.
Right.
I was at a boarding school in the UK, which is why I was considered an international.
So even at the time, so you would have spent 5 years or more in the country, but because you're not a UK citizen, they still charged you with
international. And I've got rejected in 2 of the unions, got 3 interviews.
Okay.
And then I got shortlisted on 1, rejected on 1.
Before we move on to the next question, does anybody else want to talk about their route? I mean, we've got international, traditional, and postgraduate. Is there anything else? I think we pretty much have it covered, isn't it? I guess the next question you mentioned on there, Andrew, is the interview stage. And that's probably something which is talked about a lot. And again, from, I'm not interested in the basic advice of, how do you prepare for an interview? That stuff you can find online. But you see, thinking back to the interviews, I presume all of you have had interviews and you kind of get into medicine. What was the one thing that you believe you said in the interview which really impressed the panel?
I think when you're preparing for interviews, it's quite common to find typical answers online.
Yeah.
And then reciting those one of the interviewer. That's the complete wrong way to do that. You have to be yourself in front of them because they don't want the
textbooks.
They know them themselves. Yeah. They want to see you and test you on the real reason why you want to do medicine and like this and show them the skills that you've got.
So define now real reason. So again, if I were to be interviewed now, oh, I want to study medicine because I like helping people and I've done experience here and my uncle's working in a hospital and I've done voluntary work in Uganda and all of that. So is that not a real answer?
That tells you that won't tell the interviewer that you got medicine in your life.
Okay.
But it doesn't tell them why you want to commit to medicine. So you've got to take all these experiences and then expand on them and say, well, this made me realize, for example, for me, when I did my work experience, I had that moment of realization where I really wanted to reflect. Do I really want to be doing this?
Where was your experience?
It was Queen Elizabeth Hospital
Okay.
in Woolwich.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I saw a heart surgery happening, and I really asked myself, do I really want to do this?
Right.
Because it was quite tough to watch,
Yeah.
let alone performing that then.
Yeah.
And then
What was tough about it?
the time pressure, the MDT in the room, like how much stuff was happening in that one moment, and the fact that one mistake and that's the person's life.
So you really had to ask yourself, is this something I want to? And you mentioned, Seema, you mentioned one word, whether you are not wanting to study medicine, but whether you want to commit to medicine. What did you mean by that?
So anyone can study medicine. There's nothing hard about like intellectually understanding it. Anyone can do that. But having to commit to that career in a lifelong career, that's the part where you have to think about it. It's not like many other jobs where you have like set starting time, set ending time. You're going to have to commit to long hours. You're also going to have to make sure that you're ready for the emotional burden that you're going to be getting from that job, not just the privilege of being a doctor.
So as an A-level student, how can you prepare yourself for this? I mean, so do you really think, so for example, the work experience that you did, was it really useful? Or is it something that you did simply to tick the box and put it through the application?
All of my universities did not ask for work experience at all. But I did it so that I really knew what I was putting myself into. It is very difficult to secure work experience nowadays with like competition. But
and how did you manage to secure?
I just emailed a lot of people.
You emailed them. So again, you say it's difficult, and a lot of kids, they get demotivated or don't get a response. So just to put into context, you said a lot of people. How many people did you email?
I think I emailed quite many hospital trusts in London. And then only 2 of them got back to me, and then
So
only 1 secured.
In order for me to comprehend this, when you say many, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, you use AI to just spam all the GP surgeries?
I didn't use AI. I think I did all of my local GP surgeries.
Give me a number.
About, I don't know the number.
Roughly.
I'll tell you like the areas.
Yeah.
So I did the workplace where I live, Southall, and then like all the nearby towns.
So when you say Southall, you mean to say you emailed every surgery in Southall?
Mostly.
Wow. Okay. Then?
And then I didn't get any replies from any of the GP surgeries.
Okay.
None of them replied. And then I tried in NHS trusts.
So what's a trust?
You can. So for example, the West London University Trust, I think that's what they're called. And then they've got like a page for work experience there.
Okay.
And you can search for those, and you can like find contact emails on there. And
so within a trust, I presume they would sort of. I don't want to come across as too nice, and I know what trust is, just for the record. But so for the trust that you emailed, how many hospitals were they managing roughly?
I think about 10. I'm guessing.
10.
I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Okay. So you contacted all these people, and was it all emails or was it phone calls? Was it?
They didn't publish their phone numbers on there. It's easier to find email, and you can attach your CV on there as well, which is a lot easier than having to call them.
So would you say it was pure luck for that one hospital to get back, or did you make your own luck, as in you pretty much emailed everybody? And the approach, what were you saying in those emails?
So I introduced myself as an aspiring medical student, and then I would tell them the reason why I want to do medicine, and then I want to see more into this field and see if it's the right fit for me. And then I would attach my CV as well to my skills and show my commitment that I am quite serious about this.
And is that which stage you reached out for a reference, isn't it? I'm just.
I didn't.
Okay, so that's pretty much the way you secured your work experience. Does anybody else want to add to that? Did you guys manage to secure any experience in another way?
Mine is pretty similar, but I chose to not look for GPs. I tried to search up consultants' emails because consultants consistently they show such passion in the topic. So if you try to find a consultant who is working in the specialty that
What's a consultant?
consultant is like it's like the highest that you can get in your medical career.
Is this the guy that's going to put the fear of God into you guys soon? Probably, isn't it? Is that when you start your rounds, right?
It's a combination.
Yeah.
It's a fear and you put love into it. So I just email consultants because they have an interest and they actively show it. Like if you've been with a consultant in wards or in clinic, they're always talking about that topic. They always want you to get involved. So as a aspiring medical student, they'd be interested in allowing you to join. So that's what I did.
So give me some numbers. How many consultants did you reach out to?
So I would say maybe 10, 20.
10, 20, and the response you managed to secure one?
I got two.
Two
Responses.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Amna, you're saying you did something similar.
So I did the same thing. And I managed to get 3 responding back to me. So,
And is this consultants?
yeah.
How many did you reach out to?
I reached out to around the same, I think 20-ish.
Okay.
But I did different specialties because I wanted to get a bit of it.
And I presume their contact details are found online on websites
No, so you have to go on their LinkedIn, you find it like that.
through LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I found a lot through LinkedIn. I even messaged quite a few people on LinkedIn. And I think what I did was I read some of their work and research and I put it in the email that I was really interested in what they were doing. And I think making it personal like that shows that you're interested, but also makes them more likely to want to reply back to you.
Okay.
Mine was kind of different. I guess sounds bad to say, but I've already put as much like hard work into like writing those emails and actually emailing anyone, to be honest.
And what did you say in your email? Was it a similar like?
No, I just didn't send an email. That's not how I
What do you mean?
about it. So the first thing I did was ask my GP. They said they're not taking any medical students because like right after COVID kind of time,
Okay.
not doing that. So I kind of didn't really ask any GPs at all. And then I went online and just searched like closest hospitals near me. And then went on like their main kind of website and then go to their volunteering page. And depending on the hospital, some are really good and they have like a whole volunteering hub and stuff. And then I applied to Ashford Hospital. And they took a very, very long time to get back to me.
How long?
Like probably 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
But it was just that whole process. Everything was just very, very lengthy. But then I had one of my friends who also wanted to go into medicine. And she started volunteering at West Middlesex Hospital. And then she was like, why don't you also try? So then went on their website, applied, and they get you in for interviews, DBS check, all of that stuff. And I got in that sense.
Awesome. Just to check, did all of you have experience? I mean, Andrew, did you have experience as well?
Yeah.
And okay.
Experience, there's a thing called pre-med project, where it's like a week or 2 week medical like camp for like aspiring medical students. I went there and then
Is that paid or is that something you had to apply to?
that one's applying and paid.
Apply and paid. Okay.
Yeah, and the second one was work experience at a hospital in Kent, William Harvey Hospital. They're very good with like aspiring medical students and like that.
What do you mean by very good? As in, you just apply to you reach out and go back?
I knew a friend that who was a consultant A&E there, so I asked him.
So that's probably I think the next, as in how the answer is probably pretty obvious, but it's is it necessary or is it useful to have a connection in a hospital? Then does that pay off? I mean, in your case, it probably did.
I feel like in general, I think having connection is the most important thing. Even like after becoming a doctor, but also connecting with as many people as possible. I think
So this idea of networking.
like, I think it's, if not the most essential thing apart from your degree.
And Amni mentioned sort of LinkedIn, and that's something you would probably associate with people who are working professionally in their careers. But if you're talking about sort of networking for students, so you're thinking now as a GCSE student, perhaps you need to think about having a LinkedIn profile.
I would say yes, because honestly, like every single person that reaches out to me on LinkedIn, I will reply back to them and I'll give them as many resources as I can. So I think LinkedIn is probably the best way to go about it, and it's so easy to make connections because everyone will say yes helping. They're never going to say no, which I think is the best part about it.
Awesome. So this is all about now the work experience, but coming back to the interview, again, I still want to sort of get at least something out of you guys when it comes to the sort of the nugget or the one particular thing that you mentioned to them. And Seema, you mentioned sort of being real or giving real answers. So I think that's pretty clear. But aside from giving real answers, what other things did you sort of experience in your interviews that you felt, listen, this is how I won the panel over?
So I think most interviews in unis are MMI. So instead of like a conversation, I think they give you scenarios of different like cases or like what you should like what.
So what's MMI? Sorry, I forgot. Yeah.
It's what was it? Mini mock interviews. So there's different questions. I think there's 6 or 7 in a interview, and then you have like a minute or 2 to process the questions. And then it's not like, why do you want to do medicine or stuff like that. It's like scenario based.
So give me an example. What's an example of question?
Let me think of one. It's like one I remember was you are a worker at a coffee shop and then your boss tells you to close the lock and don't let anyone in. However, there's a pregnant lady that wants to come in and wants to use the bathroom. What's your thought process and what you should
This has got nothing to do with medicine.
No, so
the situation is a judgment.
This situational judgment and it's critical thinking and on the spot what you think. And as she mentioned about textbook answer questions, there's a reason why they're textbook answer questions. So you're applying that textbook answer questions into those scenarios. So applying those textbook answer questions to make it the right answer essentially or what they want.
So, in this situation, do these questions have a sinister ending? Let's say you let this lady in and she turns out she wants to rob the shop kind of thing, or is it a right or wrong answer?
There's no bad ending to it, but they have follow-up questions afterwards, or if they want more, they're like, oh, why would you do this?
So what did you say?
I forgot. I forgot about that one.
Zaid, what would you do? Would you let her in? She's pregnant. How many months, Andrew?
They didn't say, but they're pregnant.
9 months.
Okay. I think I got the gist, but you can.
It's dependent on a few factors, but one thing I would look at is company policy at the end. Because medicine is not just about, your morals, but it's also about following the rules and don't go over what you're meant to. So,
Shiroz, this is why it's a top tutor. Company policies above a 9-month-old pregnant lady.
So, first things first, I would have looked at that. And then based on that, I would act.
But which policy will cover? Oh, but then again, the manager's instructed you not to. Okay, fair enough.
So I think one point I said was, of course, the urgency of the situation. So of course she's urgent into going to the bathroom. And then also it mentioned about company policy because you want as many information, you know everything. But also I think something that added it was immediately contacting the boss and explaining the situation. So that shows that you're solving 2 things at once. You're explaining to the boss the reason why this was person in was because of this and this. And then you're also helping the pregnant lady use the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's basically critical thinking and what they want you to think in the spot. And using the textbook answer questions, and you're applying that answers to that scenario.
Yeah.
I think the thing about interviews is as well that you're past the academic part of your application. At that point, they really just want to know more about who you are as a person. Because a lot of medicine, of course, is hard work, and of course, there's a lot of academic stuff that goes into it. But I feel like you need to have a certain type of mindset to be able to do it. You need to be good with time pressure. You need to be good with your management skills, your leadership, things like that. So that's what they're looking out for.
This is turning out to be far more interesting than I'd imagined. Don't be surprised if you reach out to you for a part 2. In terms of studying medicine, what's the one thing that surprised you the most and you did not see coming? As in, this is not what I thought medicine was going to be like. What's that one thing?
Angry patients.
Angry?
Yeah, that was quite. I think when you kind of do work experience with patients for the first time, like properly, not work experience, when you're actually with patients on placement, you kind of like forget that they're actually real people. So when they give real responses back, it's a bit of a shock because you're like, wow.
So this is something I always wondered. So you go into A&E or even in GP surgeries and it says like abuse to staff will not be tolerated. Or is that a real thing then?
Yeah.
Usually, they always say if there's a sign, there's a story. So there was a reason why the sign actually
sign
popped
was
up in the
yeah.
first place.
Okay. But it's not really a nice answer. Abuse. So that's one thing. Okay, abuse, fine.
Not necessarily abuse. It's more. I think what I'm trying to say is a lot of the times people will come in and have expectations for what they want to get out of you, and sometimes you can't meet those expectations. So I think a lot of it was trying to navigate those situations because obviously you know that you will have to do it eventually, but actually, this is my honest answer by the way because I think you want unfiltered stuff. But I think when you actually have to do it, you kind of realize like, oh, okay, it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. It's going to be other things too.
Wow. Okay. And so, I mean, anything else that's so surprising about studying medicine that you didn't or you wouldn't have thought of while applying?
I thought burning out was a myth because I think during A levels, like I was consistent and I was able to do all the work that I wanted to do with like A levels. However, for medicine, there were times where I would just sit on my desk and I'm like, I'm not getting anything in, or like I really can't be asked, but not can't be asked because
but
it's just I've done so much towards the point where like nothing's going in. So I think also having and this is what everyone says though, but it's essential, like having a good, like also good lifestyle or having a step back, like doing what you enjoy. For example, going out with friends or going like to the gym.
So for somebody, and you mentioned earlier on, I said you got a scholarship, right? For somebody that's pretty much smashed the A levels to be now sitting at a desk and saying, "Listen, like my body is struggling to cope with the intake," is that something which is associated to your university, or is that something which is everywhere across? Is that normal?
It's so normal. Every single medical student feels like this, and you kind of wouldn't expect that. But it's so common and it's so normal. Half the time, like me and my friends would just kind of sit down and be like, I'm just doing this. But then you kind of have to remind yourself.
And what do you, for instance, what do you compare this to? Like to your friends studying?
I mean, I can say
I don't want to upset anyone.
I study biochemistry right now, and even though I'm only 3 weeks in, and I find it to be a lot less stressful than A levels, I do feel like I can't imagine doing medicine now, and I'm really happy that I will do it in the future, right?
Right.
But if I was thrown right into it with all the content, and even now, like, we're covering 5 modules at the same time, which is different from A levels, I feel like burnout and stuff is really like common. And I think whatever you do, even A levels, I used to get burnt out a lot. You need to have that balance with your work life and your.
So probably bit off topic, but then again, I'll probably answer this question for you. But I just realized when you guys are not studying, you're then working here. But when you're not working, like, how do you guys switch off?
No, we don't. And then it's always.
Listen, we've got kids listening to Kilo, so don't make it that depressing. We're not.
We do. We do switch off. It's like, we have that studying, but we have kind of that, for me at least, my to-do list is like everything. If I have my stuff to do that I know I have to get done for my, for that day to be done, once it's done, then I'm just kind of having fun, playing with my brother, having the time of my life kind of thing. But then, the next day you kind of back on, not work, but you have a little bit of a schedule. It's
scheduling is important,
Yeah, once that's done, you're kind of good.
Yeah.
There will be times where you don't finish your to-do list.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
You're not always 100% every single day. So it's just like, you don't kill yourself. Not like this, like, don't beat yourself up. Because you can never be 100% every single day.
So then, is the fear of failing really though? Let's say you're not first, second, like, and for example, are there even retakes?
Yeah, so failing isn't like, I don't know about what everyone else's experiences, but I think failing isn't that big of a stigma in medicine. And a lot of consultants will come tell you this. A lot of doctors who are qualified and have graduated, they will tell you that it's okay to fail because at the end of the day, it does make you better. Even though that's not ideally what you want, but it is it's more common than people think it is. And a lot of the times medical students are retaking, but it's not seen as a bad thing. It's seen as a positive thing because if you repeat something twice, in the end, it's just going to make you better. So I think that's the biggest thing.
You've got international, undergraduate, traditional, and then postgraduate as well. Is there any other ways you can get into medicine? You can't cry yourself.
Oh, there is abroad and also pathways.
Or abroad, and we actually have tutors. Abba, she's probably in like Bulgaria right now, but
most people go Hungary or Bulgaria.
yeah.
Pathways is not that common anymore, is it?
Yeah, it's not that common, but
Why?
pathways is also one. So you do
What's pathways? The Bulgaria.
No. In year 12, you do like a med school, like pre-med school. So for 6 weeks or something, you'll be there. They'll teach you a lot of stuff, and then they'll be like, okay, we can guarantee you an interview. Yeah.
No, but we had one of our tutors do that for Imperial. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
Like she's super smart at GCSEs. She did this, and then she would go into university for a.
I know Bristol does something similar. It's very niche. Like
It's not that common.
It's not too common. It's not like a go-to. I think.
And what myths are there about medicine which sort of when you're studying it now? I mean, you mentioned, Andrew, a very good thing about burnout. But aside from that, what is it? What is it that you realize? Okay, look, this is really surprising and something that I didn't sort of expect.
For me, it was, I don't know, people just keep saying how like, oh, uni is so hard to make friends, stuff like that. But with med, first of all, you're kind of going into a place where you might have been at the top of your school, but now you're the same as everyone. Like,
When you mean top, what do you mean?
As in, you're getting good grades, you've done all the extra work out of school and stuff, and then you're kind of...
You mean, Sakina, you mean to say your ego gets dented?
No,
really.
And then, for example, with me, GCSEs, like, I was the dumbest in set 1. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I would rather be in set 2 and be the smartest than be in set 1 and, like, the dumbest. Like, my mocks, I was getting 4s and 5s, and, like, yeah, that's not the way to go. I remember when we did, like, this, what's it called, parents' evening. I didn't take my parents because I was like, I don't want my maths teacher telling them I got a 5 in maths. I was like, go myself. And then my maths teacher, he asked me, he was like, oh, what do you want to get? And I was like, yeah, I want to get a 9 or like an 8 at least. And he literally laughed at me because he was like, you're getting 5s now, like, basically have fun, like, do what you can. But then I did get an 8 in the end. And I had him for A-levels as well.
Wow.
So, like, it's just...
So even this is a topic that... Yeah. But you know the one question which I now genuinely ask a lot of the students who are wanting to apply to university is, and this is a reality, this is a real question, what opted you guys to study medicine as opposed to dentistry?
It's a different field. That's
I promise you I know that much.
Yeah, no, because like...
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
You don't like teeth, but you're okay watching open heart surgeries.
Yeah.
Help me make sense of that.
Okay, at least personally, I rather... Okay, I know GPs and stuff have to do this, but I rather kind of operate on a patient and do all of this stuff than actually, like, doing a blood test on them. Because, like, I know, they're just there in front of me. I can see everything happening, their reactions and stuff, but, like, in surgery, all of that's covered and I'm just inside you, do myself and leave. In that sense, obviously not that simple, but a bit like that.
Also the options. Medicine has a lot more options and you can really pick what's more suited to you.
So in terms of what you want to specialize in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas dentistry, although it still has options, it's not as many as I would have liked.
All the options are to do with teeth.
Yeah.
In your mouth.
I think that's the main kind of thing.
So it's quite limited.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did actually do dentistry work experience as well.
And you didn't?
I did not enjoy that, no. So that's why I changed.
Fair enough. So,
Related to that, like, even within one specialty, you got so many subspecialties. Different doctors specialize in what, like Moorfield Eye Hospital. There's a doctor for each part of the eye.
Yeah.
So
for each part of the eye.
So there's so much options, and if you decide you don't want to do one, you can always go back.
So you can, yeah. And is that something sort of appeal to you as well, just the scope?
Yeah, I think just your life experience, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, and then like over time when you grow older, which one, all the experiences that you've accumulated, which one hits you the most. You don't have to have a specific reason on why you don't like dentistry or you don't want to do dentistry. There's so many pros in doing dentistry, but it doesn't hit the same with all the experience that you have. So you don't have to have a specific reason. Like,
Also, I know a lot of people, like, they go into and they're like, oh, I really have a passion for this. And genuinely, like, I feel like you need to like, proper strive and actually, like, do want to be there, if that makes sense. For me, I was like, it's a weird thing to say, but I don't want to be anything, if that makes sense. Obviously, now I'm into med. I will overcome something, and hopefully,
so is medicine sort of giving you the reassurance that you're in the right pathway, and that's something?
I know, like, I know I 100% know finance, engineering, all of that stuff. This seems like too much waffle for me. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't go in my head. But like with science as well, GCSEs I did not. Bio was okay. Chemistry, physics I didn't like. Chemistry was okay. I just didn't really understand. Physics I hate, and I still hate even now. So I was like, yeah, not going there. But then with my GCSE results as well, a lot better than what my mocks were. So I was like, maybe I do, I actually can do this.
And what did you do from the mocks? Or getting sort of average grades from mocks to, is it simply buckling down and just working?
But the thing is, like, I always did do the work, so I'm not sure if it was maybe like doing more exam questions or actually like proper locking in. Not really sure, but I think it was maybe the fact that at least mocks made me realise, like, start revising and actually get into it, because what you're doing, you're just wasting time.
And this is probably going to be my last question before we do something else, but in your journey so far, what was the one piece of advice that anybody, your teachers, your parents, your lecturers, your next door neighbor gave you that really made a big impact on your application or sort of on your outlook? Is there anything that stands out for you?
I don't have anything that someone else told me, but for me, I usually tell a lot of people, don't care so much. In the sense, obviously care about people, that's very different, but we don't really think about people's opinions, don't deep things too much, because it never goes the right way. Obviously, like, for example, after my biology exam, I was always like, oh, that one multiple choice, I know the answer, why don't I put that? But after a while, you're like, well, it's done now, can't change it, so like, just control what you can, and really just don't care about what others think, because it can very, very easily impact you. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we'll probably conclude this session here, and hopefully go to the drawing board and actually turn this into a series in which we can have far more detailed discussions, because I do feel like each aspect that we've just touched upon today can be turned into an entire episode. So we will stop.